歡迎各位觀眾收睇《周一長談》，我係你哋呢一集嘅節目主持人梁英年。近期喺媒體上面咧都有好多討論咧，關於 Twitter 呢一個嘅網上嘅社交媒體。咁啊 ，Twitter 呢個老闆咧 Elon Musk 阿馬克斯就怪怪地嘅，佢唔知搞乜鬼，就要將一啲嘅公共廣播公司咧就將佢標籤嘅。咁啊，大家仲記得㗎，佢係將呢個公共廣播嘅祖師爺啊！英國廣播公司係一個公共廣播媒體 BBC， 同美國嘅全國公共廣播電台 NPR 將佢哋標籤喎。咁啊，我哋加拿大亦都有一個公共廣播嘅公司係叫 CBC 噶嘛。咁而加拿大嘅反對黨黨領啊博勵治啊 Pierre Poilievre 咧，就竟然寫信俾 Twitter 嘅老闆啊馬克思 Elon Musk， 就要求佢喺 Twitter 上邊咧就準確嘅去標籤 CBC。咁啊，馬克思嘅 Twitter 喺佢主要嘅帳戶上邊咧就貼上咗政府資助媒體呢個嘅標籤。咁啊 ，CBC 大家知道都係政府資助㗎啦。咁但係 CBC 就好不滿喎，於是就話啦：我而家開始唔再使用 Twitter 啦。其實喺 CBC 呢單嘢之前咧，全球其他嘅公共廣播公司嘅帳戶咧，亦都發表咗類似嘅聲明嘅。CBC 就表示啦：你用呢種咁嘅標籤，就破壞咗我哋一個獨立記者運作呢一種嘅專業精神嘅。咁但係事隔冇幾耐啫，就喺4月21號，包括美國嘅 NPR 啦、中國國家新聞通訊社就係新華社啦、親莫斯科政府嘅媒體今日俄羅斯即係 RT， 我哋加拿大禁咗佢嗰個 RT 咧，同埋加拿大嘅英語同法語嘅加拿大廣播公司 CBC， 一系列嘅呢啲嘅媒體本來喺 Twitter 上邊咧都有標籤㗎。但係阿馬克思就突然間話：喂，我唔再搞呢啲咁嘅標籤啦！咁都得嘅。咁而係我哋加拿大嘅總理杜魯多咧喺新聞發佈會上面咧就話啦：佢哋啊係想攻擊加拿大嘅一個 foundational Canadian institution 啊，即係話係一個加拿大嘅基礎機構。佢就話呢一個反對黨嘅黨領咧就走到去美國呢個億萬富翁嗰度咧，就希望去幫手嚟到攻擊加拿大人 Canadian， 而呢件事咧就充分顯示咗咧博勵治呢個反對黨嘅黨領同佢所表達出嚟嘅價值觀。保守黨總係喺嗰度咧就捍衛呢啲科技巨頭嘅，但係杜魯多唔記得咗一樣嘢，就係 Elon Musk 馬克思其實係一個加拿大人嚟㗎。咁啊，杜魯多仲話：我認為今次事件就充分講明咗加拿大保守黨嘅情況。佢哋選擇不斷嘅攻擊獨立媒體組織同埋我哋嘅記者。阿杜魯多仲話攻擊呢個加拿大嘅機構，攻擊對呢一個咁多加拿大人嚟講咁重要嘅一個文化同埋提供本地內容嘅機構，的確咧係提出咗一個嘅事實，就係顯示到呢個加拿大保守黨嘅價值觀同埋佢哋嘅處事方式啦。與此同時，另外一個反對黨新民主黨嘅黨領啊，席必勝早面成啊，仲發出聲明話：博勵治希望美國億萬富翁馬克思幫助佢去解散 CBC， 因為佢唔中意 CBC 對佢嘅報導。佢呢種嘅做法就係對我哋一個國家，對我哋一個民主國家領導人嘅期望咧係非常之不對嘅。早面成仲話：博勵治咧係試圖打倒一間加拿大嘅廣播公司。其實呢個早面成同埋阿杜魯多講嘅嘢都幾相似喎，唔通佢哋有同一個寫稿人嘅？咁我講大家一啲嘅資料，就係 CBC 最新嘅一個年度報告係2022年嘅。舊年佢哋得到加拿大政府12.4億元嘅直接資助，咁另外佢亦都有6.51億元嘅喺各類嘅收入，而呢個6億5千萬嘅收入當中咧，大概有1億2200萬咧，就係喺個訂戶費用嗰度收取嘅。你唔知道咩叫做係 CBC 嘅訂戶費用啦，因為政府授權加拿大嘅公共廣播管理委員會 CRTC， 所有嘅加拿大有線電視都要俾一個嘅費用嘅，嚟到去幫助呢一個嘅加拿大廣播公司。即係話，如果你有 subscribe 有線，無論係邊間公司或者係衛星電視咧，喺嘅收費裏邊有一部分咧就係用咗嚟幫助 CBC 嘅。所以 CBC 實際上係一間政府資助嘅媒體嘅。講到底，馬克思 Elon Musk 標籤 CBC 係69%政府資助呢個嘅標籤咧係冇錯嘅。好啦，同大家講更多有關於呢個 CBC 同 Twitter 嘅嘢咧，今日請嚟嘅嘉賓咧，佢就係加拿大官式反對黨保守黨嘅黨領博嚟自 Pierre Poilievre. So welcome to the program,
Great to be
Mr.
with
Poilievre
you, my
again.
friend. Thank you.
Now, recently there's a lot of talk regarding our national broadcaster, CBC, the Canadian Broadcast Corporation.
They're not our national broadcaster. They're the state broadcaster. They speak for the Trudeau government. They don't speak for the everyday Canadian.
No, but according to our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, you attack a foundational Canadian institution.
It's fundamental to him because it's his propaganda arm. And CBC exists to push liberal leftist propaganda at Canadian taxpayer expense. I think we can do better and more with $1 billion, and that's what I'll do. I'm going to defund the CBC to save $1 billion.
But this is just all a game for you? You go to an American billionaire and ask him to label CBC accurately.
Justin Trudeau labeled CBC government funded when he gave them billions of dollars of government funds.
He said it's not. He got the approval from the Parliament, so you're part of it.
Every dollar the government spends is approved by Parliament. That's a distraction. It's a government-funded state propaganda arm, and that's all it is. They're going to be defunded, and we're going to have the government fund things that the people can't get any other way. We're not going to pay for things that you can get from the private sector. 99%, or I'd say 95%, what CBC does, you could get from the private sector, but ironically, CBC does it much worse because their focus is on promoting Justin Trudeau rather than informing Canadians.
No, but CBC has been in Canada for a long time.
Yeah, too long.
They have a mandate, and they have this Broadcasting Act to give them the freedom, the independence from government interference in the editorial. Is that true?
What they have is the whole place is loaded up with liberals and left-wing woke activists, so they don't have to ask Justin Trudeau's office what to write. They already agree with him on everything.
Because they have the same kind of people doing
they agree with him on everything. They don't have to ask him what to write. They just do it automatically because the place is just loaded up with woke liberals with a Trudeau agenda. So that's why I'm defunding it. Save $1 billion. By the way, wouldn't Canadians enjoy having some money in their pocket if we get rid of wasteful spending like that?
But
I think so.
Do you think we need a state? You say a state broadcast that the people say is a national broadcast that bring the country together. We have the French,
CBC,
we have the English.
Anyway,
do we need something like that?
I think we summed it up by saying CBC doesn't bring anybody together. CBC divides Canadians by pushing a divisive, extreme liberal agenda, and that's divisive. And we don't need any more divisiveness.
Now, CBC has been here a long time, and this saying is the coalition partner of Justin Trudeau.
Yes.
He said almost the same thing.
Yes,
You
exactly.
are breaking down an institution of Canada.
Yeah, because of course, both the NDP and Liberals, who are basically one party now, the costly coalition, believe in forcing Canadians to spend their money on a left-wing media arm, rather than letting Canadians just to decide what media outlet they choose to watch.
Now, but by doing that, if you are successful in defunding CBC, and we're going to lose this state broadcaster, how is it going to enhance the freedom of speech of Canada? Because you are now attacking the C11 by the Justin Trudeau government. C11 is to limit the freedom of speech of Canadians.
Exactly.
So they have a special institution to control what we can put on internet. And now you're trying to defund CBC, we have one less outlet. How can you make these two together?
No. Listen, the CBC can continue to go and raise money like everyone else. I mean, how do you do it? You sell advertising, you have investors, you have sponsors, you have subscribers.
And we beg the Trudeau government to give us some money. but they didn't give us to us.
Of course not. Because you don't agree with the Trudeau agenda, you don't get the money. It's just for his propagandists.
So how about C11? Why is it so bad?
Well,
your entire caucus talk about it.
It's a censorship law. It allows the woke bureaucracy called the CRTC to control what you see and say on the internet, to manipulate the algorithms of the internet in order to favor certain content and disfavor other content. And that is censorship. It's government control of the internet. There's no other country in the democratic world that has a law like this. One expert said that it is only communist China, North Korea, and Iran that have this kind of control over the internet. And Margaret Atwood, a great Canadian author who's not a conservative,
Yeah,
not at all, she described it as creeping totalitarianism. Creeping totalitarianism. If that doesn't frighten you, I don't know what will. A Pierre Poilievre government will repeal C11 and bring back freedom of expression online.
But is it too open in the internet? Everyone can put messages on it. There's some misinformation, and AI is even more scary if we need the AI to do all those things.
Yeah, this doesn't change
no control. How can we know it's true or not?
This doesn't change that. This does. First of all, AI stands for artificial intelligence. There's lots of artificial intelligence in Ottawa.
What are they?
Secondly, especially Justin Trudeau is an expert on artificial intelligence. But this doesn't change AI. All this does is give the government the power over to manipulate the algorithms so that you see only the things they want you to see.
That's something we have to think about. And how about it's Bill C-18? The government's trying to force those what they call the intermediary of a news consumption to pay government so they can control what they can get from our Canadian news companies.
Everything Trudeau does is about concentrating the control in the hands of the government so that he controls what you see, you say, you hear, you learn, you think. Everything, he believes everything should be controlled by him and other members of the costly coalition. I believe in freedom. I run for Prime Minister to make Canada the freest nation on earth and put people back in charge of their lives.
So the Trudeau government is trying to build more bureaucracy. He has more control of the life of Canadians. And you want to bring down the size of the government.
Yes.
And you want to have less control and let people run their own life.
That's right.
But in reality, we can see the bureaucracy expanded, inflated by 50% by Justin Trudeau government. So we have more bureaucrats. Is it good to provide more services to Canadians?
Do you get anything else? You know, you can't get a passport. You have to wait longer for immigration. Our military is falling apart. He can't protect the borders. All the basic responsibilities of the federal government are broken, and yet it's costing 50% more for the bureaucracy that delivers those services.
But now we have a strike.
Yeah, that's the irony. It takes real skill for Justin Trudeau to spend an extra $20 billion a year on bureaucracy and still end up with a strike. How does this happen?
It's difficult.
I mean, you've heard of politicians that have caused strikes. You've heard of politicians that have spent more on bureaucracy.
Yeah,
but it takes a special kind of incompetence to do both of those things at once. But only Justin Trudeau could have achieved this.
Because they are on opposite style of things. How can you bring the two together to have this strike with 50% more spending?
You have to have like a PhD in incompetence, and that's what Justin Trudeau has.
But is that the reason in the media they said Justin Trudeau, we know they're the government, and Jamit Singh is the NDP. They are the Union's party. So Jamit Singh say he will not help Trudeau to bring back to work legislation. But what's the conservative
when Conservatives were in office, we spent a third less on bureaucracy. $20 billion less on bureaucracy, and we had no strike.
So those money is in my pocket.
In your pocket. And you actually get services, right? You know, I've been wondering, should the taxpayers go on strike? If they're not getting services from the government, why should they be paying for it?
We can't go on strike. We can't go on strike because we need to earn a living.
Because if the government if you don't pay your taxes, Trudeau will put you in jail. But if he doesn't do his job, he gets a raise. So that's the double standard he brings to this place.
Okay,
but you're paying more for worse and less.
He's paying more. That
it's
means
time to get rid of the costly coalition and replace them with common sense conservatives led by Pierre Poilievre.
More bureaucracy, higher expense means higher tax. And from the recent budget, we can see it's more deficit.
Yeah.
Higher tax, higher deficit. What's that mean for Canadian average Joe like me?
Average Joe is the poorer Joe. You're paying more for less. You pay more income tax, which punishes hard work. Paying more gas and home heating tax through the carbon tax. You're paying more for all the goods and services because the inflationary deficits and debt are bidding up the goods we buy and the interest we pay. It's the costly coalition. So our solution, conservative solution, is to bring home a country that works for the people who do the work. Bring home lower prices by getting rid of the inflationary carbon tax and government deficits. Bring home powerful paychecks with lower income tax that reward hard work, and by removing gatekeepers so that immigrant professionals can write an exam, prove they are qualified, and get to work as doctors, nurses, engineers, and other high-paying professions. Bring homes people can afford by clearing the bureaucracy out of the way to speed up and lower the cost of building permits so we can bring millions of new residences to house our people. Let's bring home safe streets by ending liberal catch and release and replacing it with jail, not bail for repeat violent offenders, and by banning drugs, banning cocaine, banning heroin, banning illicit fentanyl, and instead of giving out tax-funded drugs, we're going to put the money into treatment for our brothers and sisters to bring them home drug-free. This is common sense. Let's bring it home.
Just make it clear once for all our audience in the Chinese community in particular, because some people has been accusing you that you support the giving of free drugs to addicts.
Me?
Yeah, I heard that accusation.
No.
Just
That's
clear
the
it up.
opposite.
Clear it for us.
That's the opposite. Justin Trudeau and the NDP are giving taxpayer-funded drugs to addicts. I'm against giving drugs to addicts. I'm the guy who's going to end that. It's the NDP in BC and the Liberals in Ottawa who are putting taxpayer-funded hydromorphine and other drugs on our streets, paid for by you, the taxpayer. That's what's going on. I'm the guy who's going to put an end to it. No more tax-funded drugs. We're going to ban heroin, crack, cocaine, other hard drugs, put the money into rehab and treatment to bring home our brothers and sisters drug-free.
Okay, that's clear. I will keep this recording. So anytime people say you support free drug, I'll just show them this video.
They're lying.
All right. Regarding addicts, how are we going to help them if not giving them clean drugs as Trudeau?
Rehab and treatment.
How to get the money?
Two ways. One, I'm going to cut all the so-called safe supply programs, the programs that are giving out taxpayer-funded drugs. I take that money and I put it into treatment. Two, I'm going to sue the drug companies.
What's wrong with drug company?
So the drug companies caused the opioid crisis. What they did is they flooded our system with opioids. It started with OxyContin, but other similar opioids. They said it was pain relief and it was addiction-free and safe. No problem. What happened? They lied. They knew that it was dangerous. And they in fact had their own memos show that they were lying. They knew they were lying. And they were paying bonuses to their distributors for each overdose they caused. So an overdose, if a distributor sold drugs through the system and it caused an overdose, the distributor would get a bonus.
So they're the drug pushers to get people addicted.
They were pushing people. They got nurses hooked. Doctors got hooked.
Oh.
People, you think it's just people, drug addicts on the street, homeless people. No. People who had good lives, mothers, fathers, and middle-class neighborhoods got hooked. We've lost 30,000 people in 7 years. The American government has sued the drug companies and collected $54 billion because of this fraud. A Poilievre government will sue for $45 billion, and we will take the money and we will spend it on rehab and treatment to bring home our brothers and sisters drug-free.
Okay, now, I think this is the last point. It's really important because you have been talking about gatekeepers for a very long time. But for a lot of people, they may not understand your concept of a gatekeeper. At the end of the day, do we need a government that bring in regulations to make our life easier? Is that how things work in a democratic country?
So a gatekeeper is someone who stands in your way and prevents you from moving forward. I'll give you an example. We have 20,000 immigrant doctors and 33,000 immigrant nurses banned from working in our hospitals. Why? Because they were trained abroad. We have other professionals also prevented from working in their field. So here's my plan. Let's take the high Canadian professional standards, put them into a exam, the Blue Seal exam. So anybody who wants to be a professional in Canada should write the same exam, whether they're born in Vancouver or Hong Kong or Beirut or London, England. If you want to get licensed, you write the Blue Seal. We have this in the trades.
Like the red seal in the trade.
Red seal for the trades. Electrician comes here from South Africa, they write the red seal. Boom, they get the red seal, they can work as an electrician anywhere in Canada. In the professions, even if you get licensed in BC, you might not be able to work in Newfoundland or Alberta. Crazy. So Pierre Poilievre government will bring in a Blue Seal standard of examination so that our brilliant immigrants can write the exam and within 60 days of applying can get a yes or no based on their tested abilities rather than based on where they come from.
Okay, now related to this point is related to freedom. You want to make Canada the freest country in the world. But
you like that idea?
Some people argue and say, we have too much freedom. It's not
really?
good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so why do you want us to be even freer? Why?
Yeah, well, first of all, you look at the greatest atrocities of the human history, none of them have been caused because there was too much freedom. None of them. None of them. Like, seriously, we're always told we have to be afraid of freedom. But look at all the great atrocities. Who are they committed by? Governments. All of them. Committed by governments. The Holocaust was committed by a government. The mass starvation of the Ukrainian people at the Holodomor was created by the Soviet government. The massive killing fields in Cambodia was done by Pol Pot's government. The 100 million people that died from starvation under Mao was the result of government. Okay? I could go on and on and on. All of the greatest atrocities are done by governments, not by free citizens. So the danger is not too much freedom, it is too much government. If you want to secure life, you need to have freedom in order to have security.
But is it liberty dangerous? If too much freedom?
No, liberty, the absence of liberty is dangerous.
Now, in Canada, we're afraid of foreign interference. We have been talking about foreign interference for the last several months and haven't seen the government done anything yet.
No, of course not. Because they're benefiting.
What do you
Justin
think
Trudeau
about
benefits from foreign interference. He knows that the dictatorship in Beijing helped him win multiple elections. They gave $140,000 to the Trudeau Foundation, which his brother facilitated. I mean, it's just unbelievable, this family. Like this, you look at the Trudeau family and how they've enriched themselves off of their public life. It really is disgusting and disturbing.
But they're all family friends.
And it's all within the family,
right?
Yeah,
they're all family friends.
It's disgusting.
So you have no idea how they work.
Well,
because you're not from that ruling class.
I'm definitely not from their class of people. I come from a different place. I was born to a 16-year-old teenage mom, adopted by school teachers who raised me in suburban Calgary to believe that it didn't matter where you came from or who you knew. It mattered where you were going and what you could do. And that's the country my wife came to as a refugee from Venezuela. It's the country we want for our kids and yours. It's not the country we see around us right now after 8 years of Trudeau. It's a tiny ruling class around him that get to decide who leads and who runs things. That's ending when I become Prime Minister. We're going to bring home a country that works for the people who do the work. A common sense of the common people united for our common home.
So for common people, you want and you have common sense, you know where to go to. In the next election, we'll make a choice. Thank you very much for coming to the program.
And the choice is yours and yours. And that's the great thing about freedom, is that the people are in charge, the people are the boss, the people are the master, and the government is the servant.
And you are the one that is not afraid of freedom and give more people liberty.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, my friend. Let's bring it home.
嗱，每一次咧，我請阿博勵志嚟到呢個節目咧，都係滾水淥腳咁嘅，因為咧每一次咧佢嚟到 BC 省嘅時候咧，佢都係有好多嘅行程嘅，咁特別咧係要離開嘅時候咧，都會經過農場頻道嘅，所以我咧就有機會拉到上嚟同大家做呢個訪問嘅。咁雖然咧時間有限嘅，咁但係咧我都好多謝咧係阿博勵志咧 ，so thank you very much again for coming to the program， 同埋多謝各位觀眾嘅收睇，希望日後咧佢每一次經過 BC 省去機場之前咧，都可以嚟呢度坐一坐，同大家傾下最新嘅發展嘅。 拜拜。